Askar Mozharov, dubbed by some as the Ukrainian McGregor, has been unceremoniously dumped out of the UFC after just a solitary performance for the outfit. No Mercy was beaten in the first round of his only fight with MMA's top promotion. But thanks to some pretty underhanded tactics, the 27-year-old has been given his marching orders. Today we are discussing the UFC unceremoniously parting ways with Mozharov, so stay right where you are. Let's have a little look at Mozarov's career first and foremost. Mozharov is a bit of a strange case, as no one seems to know definitively what his official record is. Sherdog have it down as 18-13, while Tapology claim it is 19-13, which could just be a case of not updating records. Anyway, what most sources agree on is the fact that MMA life didn't start off so well for Mozharov, who lost his first 3 bouts all by submission. However, he picked up his form in a big way following his first 3 losses, similar to how Jack Della Maddalena had picked it up after 2 straight losses at the very start of his career. The change in form saw him win his next 6, maybe 7 fights in a row, depending on who you talk to, as Sherdog don't seem to have acknowledged his Bullet Fly FC1 win over Shu Zihan in China. Across his following 8 fights, he only won twice, mostly being submitted, but he again picked his form up, winning either 7 or 9 in a row after this, again depending which outlet you believe. Next came 3 straight losses, followed by 3 wins, which somewhat strangely led to a call to the UFC, MMA's top promotion, even with a record such as this with such discrepancy in wins and losses. However, it wasn't to be in the UFC either, as he lost in the first round to Alonzo Menefield via TKO due to elbows. A pretty crazy record. What do you make of this? So why was he cut? Let's see. Even if fighters aren't technically the greatest, they are usually given more than one fight to prove themselves in the big leagues. But that does not and will not apply to Askar Mozharov, and it will probably come as absolutely no surprise to anyone that Mozharov had actually been telling anyone who would listen that his real record was 25-7 before the team over at Sherdog decided to do a bit of digging and revealed that to be a whole load of nonsense. A few days after his one and only performance, Mozharov was told he would not be welcome to fight again for the UFC, as it had been revealed that he had obviously falsified his record. But as if that wasn't bad enough, the cards he was claiming he had fought on had never even taken place. I mean, what the? Once this came to the attention of fight fans, it didn't take long for video footage of additional losses to surface, which means that Mozarov's real record is thought to now be 19-13. I mean, that form is probably not going to put you into title contention, but it is definitely a respectable enough record, which questions why he thought he had to lie about his record. Mozharov, nicknamed the Ukrainian McGregor thanks to the pair having very similar gorilla tattoos on their torsos, has come away from this with egg firmly on his face and will probably struggle to make it back to a big promotion now. So what did the man himself have to say about the issue? Stay with us to find out. Well, hardly surprisingly, Mozharov seemed less concerned about talk of his record than most, as Tapology site manager Stephen Kelleher revealed that UFC signee Askar Mozarov's record has been significantly revised, as new information has come to light regarding several wins and losses. However, the light heavyweight himself weighed in on the issue, saying he was unconcerned that his record had now been altered, but didn't address whether or not it had been done on purpose. He did, however, say, "I spent so much time since the age of 18 fighting professional fights, and pretty much fighting everyone that I could." He went on to claim that a lot of his fights were in China, whose organizations don't add fights after, whatever that means, before claiming that you have to really pursue it to make sure that they add the fights that you had and make sure that you have it on the record. I mean, yeah, that's how it works, pal. No one on a regional card is going to go out of their way to make sure your record is correct. He went on to say it was weird that this had all come out now, seeming to want to blame anyone other than himself. He then tried to blame name changes and claimed ignorance over semi-pro fights counting to his record, finishing by saying, "So there was a little bit of a mix-up with that, but I just focused on the fights and nothing about these records. Unfortunately though, records count." Next up, DC has finally cleared up that Towelgate incident. Stay tuned. You will almost certainly remember the controversy surrounding DC touching his towel as he struggled to make weight at UFC 210 against Anthony Johnson, and appearing at the Hall of Fame event to which he was an inductee this week. Cormier said, "Guys, I want to tell you something because I feel like right now is the time to be completely transparent. I think I may have grabbed the towel in Buffalo." Of course, in a sport where the finest of margins matter, grabbing and pushing down on the towel towel could have slightly altered his weight on the scales, as it could have provided a tiny bit of relief on the scales. He went on to say how difficult it was to make weight. I mean, that's the game, right? Before even suggesting he was about to just give up. However, he was more candid than most expected, revealing how a coach of his reminded him of an old wrestling trick where a competitor can grab the towel, which allows them to alleviate just enough weight. As it transpired, no one noticed what he had done, but by the letter of the law, it is technically cheating, and Johnson might well feel a little aggrieved. Cormier went on to suggest he had been lucky, whereas others would simply say he cheated. He then said that when he was touching the towel, the commissioner was looking at the scale, so he got away with it scot-free. What do you guys make of this one? We're looking ahead to a much-anticipated trilogy fight now. This weekend sees not one but two title fights taking place on the UFC 276 card in Las Vegas, but easily the most highly anticipated one is that of Alexander Volkanovski against former champion Max Holloway. Holloway has been speaking about the upcoming bout this week, calling it a best of the best clash, and that is hard to disagree with. These two have shared the featherweight belt for the past 6 years or so, and Max thinks the trilogy fight will be as good as the famed Jones vs. Cormier rivalry. Should Max win, the score would be 2-1 in Volk's favor, as the Aussie has won both of their previous matchups. However, following the current champ's one-sided victory over Max back in 2019, a lot of people thought the Hawaiian was robbed in the rematch, which he thinks he can set right this coming weekend. Max went on to explain that Volk has made him a better fighter, saying everyone is looking for that person who is going to push them to be great, and this Volkanovski is the guy. This is the fight for both of us. We've had some great fights already, but this next one is going to be even greater. There are levels to this, and I can't wait to go out there and show my level on Saturday night. And we can't wait either. Who do you have in this one? And finally, a hilarious back and forth from the 276 press conference. Sean Strickland appeared to get under middleweight champion Israel Adesanya's skin at the pre-fight press conference earlier today, July 1st, and he may have just earned himself a title shot in the process. When asked who the best striker on the stage was, Strickland said, "I would say me, but I mean that man, Alex Pereira, was the one who slept that man, Adesanya, so next to me, probably Alex." He then went on to antagonize Adesanya, asking him how many times Pereira has beaten him, before Adesanya fired back, telling everyone he had slapped Strickland's behind backstage. Strickland then goaded him further, claiming he watches cartoon porn, which Adesanya corrected him by telling him it was hentai. Adesanya then said he will do a TikTok dance over him when he knocks him out, before Strickland tried to wind him up even further, saying, "After I beat Alex, you're gonna see I'm a whole different guy. I'm gonna start painting my nails, act like a female. I'm gonna be wearing sunglasses inside." Hilarious. Do you think Strickland can beat Izzy? As usual, thanks for dropping in today, and if you feel like doing us a solid and sharing today's video, it would be much obliged. Bye guys.